We're really excited to go to Alabama. Um, they've got a great team, very physical, big. Milrose playing really good. Their defense is playing exceptional. Um, got a huge offensive line. Burton is a real deal out at wide receiver. The kind of running back wise with McClellan and Williams. Both of them are really, really good runners. Um, Bond's an exceptional wide receiver. So they've got, they're Alabama and playing really well right now. Big physical football team. But we're excited to go over there and play the game.
Um, so you said you would say after you watched the tape how you thought the O line going back to how you had it, how that worked. What did you see? And then as you address the run game and the offense going forward, what has to happen for you?
Well, there was so much movement um, that we couldn't stay in front of them. We couldn't get basically the pry backs and some things like that could open some holes up. We just weren't quick enough to stay in front of them. Um, we practiced and knew what they were going to do in their mid front to their on player, and it just seemed like we were overreaching that situation. It was almost like we weren't quite um, seeing the game like we had practiced it. Um, maybe their movement was faster than what the scout team was able to do. Um, but I think, um, because of the age of some of the guys, I don't know that we can make the moves and stay with the moves that we made. There may be one or two, but uh, I think uh, with Bo being a veteran there at center, I think we've got to start back there and then work from there. Uh, some of our problems in the RPO when we hand the ball off and we're not blocking a linebacker, um, and we hand the ball off and he makes a play. Sometimes it looks like an unblocked guy, which he is, but it's designed to throw the football if he's out of a area. And sometimes we handed the ball off, and that there was a couple, 2 or 3 times there that the guy made the play, and we weren't accounting for him. We were reading him. So got a lot of work to do in that area. I do think Ole Miss has a really good defense. They proved that when they played Alabama as well. I had a chance to watch that again. Um, so we've got to get better. Our penalties, we're continue to work on that. It's we just got to keep the noise going all the time. I believe that might help. Um, there's the rule on that a little bit is, we've got linebackers flinching, jumping, yelling, move several different times. I don't know if that's what the rule's intended for, but we've got to practice it like that is the rule and stay in there better.
Coach, I was wondering with Brady Latham specifically, what are you seeing from him on film that's maybe causing him to struggle a little bit this year?
Well, I mean, I mean, he's jumping. I mean, I don't know how else to say it. He's flinching whenever they say move. Not all the time, but a lot. He's had several, and
we kind of talked about it after the game on Saturday with, so many close losses. Is there, aside from penalties, is there maybe, a few other common denominators in those that you could, maybe turn those from losses to wins?
Well, I think offensively running the ball successfully, whatever that may be. I think this team here, Alabama, rushed for low hundreds on Ole Miss as well. Not as well, we didn't. But what I'm saying is the consistency of first down. We're just putting ourselves in a hole all the time. We're not winning first downs, and a gain of 3 would get us to second 7. We've been playing a lot of second 10, second 12, second 13. So I think that would help us with more drives, sustaining some drives. Obviously, pretty consistent. We haven't been very good in scoring touchdowns in the red zone. When we get down there, we got a big turnover Saturday. I think it was on the 38, and kicked a field goal out of it. That would have been a huge momentum for us if we would have went down and scored. We have to move the pocket. We have to move the pocket because we can't protect it. We can't sit back there and protect him. And that's okay. We know that. So we've got to move the pocket. And defensively, we just got to get off the field on third down a little more often. I thought our secondary had by far their best game this year. But we had a 3rd and 15, we jump off sides, a 3rd and 10, and they make the first down. So we just got to be more consistent. We got to, help each other. In other words, we go down and score, we take the lead, it's time to get off the field, and give us the ball back and things of that nature. We just got to play better team football and be more consistent. We're close. I know for the outside world, it doesn't look like we've got a very good football team. I think we do. We just got to find a way, like what you're just asking me, and how to win at the end.
I know you have to take every game one by one, but when the fans saw the schedule that you had and this 4-game stretch you're in, and this is game number 4 of it, it just looks so daunting. And I wonder, are your players able to separate that, and get ready for each game, and you know what I mean, like wipe the slate clean and get focused on the next game?
Well, I think you've seen that the answer is yes in that. You know what I mean? It's just a new. I understand the question because it's a whole new feeling since I've been here. In other words, we've always started at least 3-0, and had the life of, we've always, every year, not the first year, but the last 2 years we were in the top 25 and things of that nature, and so it's just different. I think the BYU game really lingers over, and they're 4-1. They've got a good football team. I'm not taking anything away from them, but I think that game really is the one because if you look at it and you go play your heart out at LSU, you play a pretty good game at A&M, and then the other night we're leading in the fourth quarter, but we're losing, and so it's just different. You take the BYU game as well, and it happened, so you have to take it. It's just a different feeling. So I think I'm not concerned about do we have talent and things of that nature to win. It's where are we in our head? Well, each Saturday you go out there and we're playing hard. We're getting better. We just are still, 2 weeks ago we made no penalties, and then we come back. So we just got to be consistent. But to answer your question, when you lose your will to fight, you're just a survivor, and how long can you just hang on to the rope instead of fighting? And I think we've got a group of fighters, and I think we'll be fine. Obviously, we've got Alabama on the road, and then, we have some home games, and but we certainly need to go play well against Alabama and see if we can't steal a win on the road.
Yeah, Coach, you can tell they're still fighting for you. But my question was on the offensive line. I mean, you've seen everything in your experience as an offensive line coach. I'm just curious, in the preseason, did you see potential issues that you're having on the offensive line that you're having right now?
You know what happens, and you go into situational football, and where there's some things that might flare up in third down. Protection. Absolutely. The other thing is, and when you talk about one, it doesn't mean you're talking negative about another, okay? But, we had Devin Manuel. I think there was at times during fall camp that I thought he was, 2, 3 best linemen we had. And then he basically has not played this year, which not only takes away from there, but then it takes away from some other things that possibly you might can do in movement when you don't have him. Tykees Crawford was another guy that has been hurt, this, that, and other. Now, that's not an excuse. You asked a question, and has it flared up? Yes, it did, but not quite as much, because we were a little healthier at that point, had a few more things we could do. How to fix that, you might get out of man schemes. In other words, it's like if you're having slide protection and you have backup. So I don't have this guy particularly just one-on-one. Now, tackles are different because if they stay outside, you're not, you can chip out and things of that nature. But if they blitz, you can't, because you're taking your chip out of it. But if I'm in a slide, I know I got backup. It's the same way when you run a true gap scheme. Everybody's going this way, someone's pulling. Guy moves, I got backup. When you're in a man scheme, which it could be on the backside, you're reading the linebacker or something like that. Now I'm one-on-one over here, okay? But over here, if anybody crosses face, I have no backup. So I think some of the plays that we're running, we got to back each other up. We're not there right now where we can go, okay, you can whip him, you can whip him, you can whip him. It's got to be, if he moves, someone's going to help me with this. And I think that's a little bit more where we're headed so we can have some type of success running the football. It's the same way in pass protection. There's things that's called as true gap schemes where you're just everybody's sliding. Now they can beat you two off the edge if you don't watch it. But some of those things we have to do to cover up for movement. We're not handling it. It's not so much that we're getting just drilled one-on-one. It's we've got to have ability, if they're not moving, we've got to have ability to back each other up in our run game because we're getting so much movement. And movement has been the glaring thing for us.
You mentioned KJ maybe in his head a little bit with getting hit so many times and stuff. Do you think maybe he's also, I know he holds himself to a high standard in this offense, still thinking about what to do and trying to be perfect and all that stuff, and ultimately having those issues that he's been having?
I think so. I think he's pressing too, Trey. I mean, I think everybody could understand if he was. I think he's pressing. It's his senior year. A lot of things on his mind. He would be better at answering than me, but that's what I believe that he's probably pressing. And he also has way more on his plate, much more on his plate now than he ever has. So it's been, I'm sure, difficult for him. But I do believe that he could really thrive and shine if we just protected him a little bit better. If you notice in the games that if he does have protection, we're able to throw and catch well. And when he doesn't, not so much, And I think that's with everybody. But I think he wants to be Superman, and I think he's probably pressing a little bit too much right now to make a play.
Coach, first of the season, reason Coach Saban started Milroe, then he benched him a game, brings him back. Have you seen them adjust their offense some to fit Milroe? I mean, from
Yeah.
because Kiffin kind of they brought in the spread and stuff, but have you seen them adjust their offense some to fit Milroe?
Milroe's great at throwing the deep ball. I mean, he is. And really, if you look a little bit about he and KJ let's say from a year ago, I think the thing with KJ, you'd say he can run and he can throw the deep ball, and I'm not saying Milroe can't make every throw. I'm saying he's fantastic at the deep ball. And they put some quarterback sweeps in. Yeah, they were quite a bit. When you go back and look at South Florida game, when Milroe didn't start versus now, yes, they're a run-first team, including using him, and they're throwing the long ball and connecting. Burton's a great one-on-one guy to throw it to.
At one point, didn't the SEC try to have a deal where they would give both teams a bye the same week? Because Mississippi State's got a bye this week. You're going to play them playing 8 straight weeks. I mean, wasn't there an effort at one point to give both teams a bye, Coach?
Well, I think there is on like those rivalry games. In other words, I think Georgia and Florida, if I'm correct, when I was at Georgia, I think both of us had a bye, getting ready for that. But I don't. I think there are games like that where they're trying to, give both teams. I don't know if scheduling has changed that or what. I don't know. I know that my first year here, I believe we did not have a bye, and we were playing Tennessee, and they're coming off a bye, and then we had the vote deal. Remember that, Kyle, where we couldn't practice on Monday. So we didn't have a bye. They did, and we couldn't practice. I think we went to Sunday that week. I know we did. But, yeah, I think used to, and I don't know if OU Texas does that now or what, but I think those big, long-standing rivalry games, I think they do try to do that.
Coach, just kind of piggybacking off what Trey asked, KJ and Rocket have not really lived up to the maybe expectations they've set for themselves this season. Just how difficult is that for you, for the coaching staff, watching them struggle? And do you think it's having maybe any mental impact on the team watching their two leaders not have great?
I don't know that it has anything on the team. I know it does on them. It has to, when you're not having success. I mean, it has to. But I think it goes back to you're just going to get through it or you're going to fight through it. You're going to survive and, trying to survive, a lot of times you don't make it, you know what I mean? But you keep fighting and things of that nature, which I think our team's doing. I mean, I know they are. I don't have any question about that. But those two guys with high expectations coming into the year and all that stuff, the thing they just got to keep remembering is you got 6, hopefully 7 games left, and a lot of work to be done. I know each and every week though we're trying to get him. Rock is different because he coming off injury and that kind of stuff. KJ, I could see that wearing on him a little bit more, even though he's had some success. Rocket would be different to me because he's probably not fully healthy quite yet, but he's close. But both of them going to have to. They're mature guys. They'll both fight through it, and we'll help them.
I know you guys haven't practiced yet, but I was wondering if you had any updates on the injuries that you mentioned and Nudie too, who didn't play on Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, I think. Well, we had 3 guys. Well, we had a bunch, but there's a possibility of about 5 not being able to play, and then a possibility of maybe 2 of those 5 being able to play. But we got to see through practice. If they can get through workout or get through a non-contact practice, things of that nature, and then those type injuries are daily evals to see whether they're able to play or not. It makes it hard too because you're on one side you're trying to prepare without them, and then in the other one you're trying to prepare with them, and so the sooner we can find that out, the better off it would be. But we've got a plan. But We've got about 5 that are question marks, big question marks.
For Tesla, who started the season so well, 2 catches in the last 2 weeks, is it kind of the similar situation with him as to KJ and Rocket, where he's got a lot going on and he's coming in, even though he's older, he's a new guy on the team?
I could say probably. He's getting targets. He's getting some targets, but it could certainly be the same way. We've sat down and visited with him and things of that nature. But we got to try to get the ball to him more. A lot of things go into that. You have to protect a guy. You have to get open. You have to win some one-on-one catches and all those things, which I think he's as good as anybody we have doing that. But we would like to get him involved in the offense more, certainly.
Specifically on Kudos taking over at center. Kudos taking over at center. Just what do you think overall of his performance?
I think he tried his ever-loving heart out. He played the best he could, but we probably need to move him back out to tackle. He's young. Probably there's a lot of things going on in there. We felt like that was the way to go, and probably not the way to go.
When you got a great field goal kicker, and obviously you made the 56-yarder, I think there was a time in the first half maybe when he could have tried a similar kick, but was that against the wind? I mean,
it was other direction,
yeah.
And we had specific marks going in to our pregame talk about where they could make it, and it was just slightly outside of his distance.
Remember when Arkansas had Kendall Trainer? I remember the coach talking about thinking about playing to a field goal. I mean, does that go into your thinking now when you reach a certain part of the field?
Well, simply because we're having so many negative plays, I've always on the phones I always say, hey, we're in field goal range, or even hey Dan, you've got 2 plays here. In case we get in field goal range, depends on what the down and distance would be on 4th down. But we certainly have a good one, and we were going for it on the 4th down. We didn't get the play off in time, and then had to call it, or weren't going to, had to call a timeout. And then Cam, he basically jogged out there, and he came back. He said, Coach, if you want to kick it, I can make it. And we were down 10. I said, okay.
Coach, what about the defense getting that big stop late, give you one more chance at offense? That must have fired you up a little bit.
Yeah, wasn't that something? You look at, and I'll get back to it, but you look at Tyrus Washington, some of the things he did was really incredible for his first really real game time. Our secondary was played as good as they possibly, not as good as they possibly can, but they played their best ball. To get that stop down there and give us an opportunity was huge. Those guys are flying around. Obviously, every time you come in, you can say, well, we got to get better at tackling, because you're going to miss a tackle in the game. You are. But I thought that was big. They've done that several times now this year. And the future, I think, on our defensive side over there, the way that they're flying around doing some things, I think it's bright. I think we've come a long way.
Coach, you mentioned Manuel's been banged up most of the season. Is he still dealing with that stinger? And
Yeah.
do you think he'll maybe be ready for this week, or is he still kind of day-to-day?
Man, I don't know. But I know this, that he's got to practice. He's got to practice full speed. He has to, or he's, and listen, I don't have a problem with how Chamberlain's playing either. He's a freshman. I don't. He's doing a really nice job. But Dev, if he doesn't practice full speed, he hadn't played any ball, so it's not like Brady Latham hadn't been out, for a while, and you get him Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday practice, and he can go out there and play. He has never done it much. So, man, I hope so. we need him to. And again, that's not to bench Chamblee. We need another offensive lineman. We need Tykees Crawford, who didn't travel. I mean, we need some extra bodies in there so we can maybe look at some different situations in their position, but keep guys fresh and things of that nature. And we just haven't been able to do that.
You talked about the secondary and how well they played. Last week you were asked about limiting explosive plays for Ole Miss. I think Judkins had one 20-plus run, but no passes over 20-plus yards. Now with Milroe's ability to stretch the field, what type of confidence do you have in your secondary, again, faced with a really tough test?
Well, I do. Now two of them, we don't know if we're going to be able to play or not, but I do. I think they're really communicating well. You're not seeing the wide open, what happened here, getting behind us. I think they really like each other. I think they're a close-knit group back there. But, yeah, Milroe, I mean, he's going to throw it now. I mean, he's going to throw it up, and he can throw it a country mile, and so you're going to have to stay with the guy for a long time. We need to get pressure on him. That's what we need to do. And, of course, that's a slippery slope, too, because if he gets out of the pockets, he can fly. But you got to pick your poison at some point. And yeah, I think you're 100% correct. They got speed on the outside, and they're going to throw it up, and we just have to win that one-on-one matchup.
You touched a little bit on my next question, but it's rare to see Alabama so low in the SEC in terms of sacks allowed. Obviously, you like the idea maybe you can get pressure on Milroe, but how important is it on the edge to keep contained on a guy like that?
Yeah, big time. As we found out here last year, I think it's 28-23. We got 3rd and 13. Got the crowd behind us, and he takes off for 80 on us, and we didn't have anybody could catch him. Really wasn't anybody real close to him. And so that's going to be a big deal, and he's the guy who makes them go, so obviously that'd be our number one concern. We're going to try to do everything we can to, make him uncomfortable.
Usually when Arkansas plays Alabama, they're number 1 or 2. They're a little lower in the rankings.
Oh, they're all the way down to 10 or 11.
Yeah, I know. But seriously, they had an uncharacteristic home loss. I know it's to Texas, and they're playing real well.
It was Texas.
Yeah, I guess just what's your take on Alabama? Maybe people thinking, well, they're still good, obviously, but they're not the usual Alabama.
Oh, they can go up there and line up and play anybody. I mean, they can. They've got the talent. We're catching them now where I think they're really getting into their groove. Their defense is fantastic. And offensively now they're doing what they can do to score points and have success. And if you had Bryce Young forever, you know what I mean. He all the quarterbacks they've had, and now I think Milroe's going to get known for having great success for Alabama. It just might be a little bit different than what the past quarterbacks have been, but they're really good. They're leading the SEC West, and so that hadn't changed, So
he's in his 70s now, but he's breaking in new coordinators, which he does a lot because the guy's always getting other jobs. Yeah. But what do you think about him doing what he's doing at his age? And I know Lane Kiffin kind of needled him, apparently saying, well, this might be the last time we play him. But he hadn't indicated retirement plans. What do you think about a guy at his age doing what he's doing for as long as he's done it?
Unbelievable. I mean, it is. I mean, to go through all the years that he's done, he's had great success, but you can't say that he hadn't been stressed, I mean, for him to do that and so successful. I mean, he's the best coach ever been, but I imagine he'll quit when he's not having fun anymore, or not changing lives in these kids, and until that time, you're going to get one hell of a football team, well coached and talented and plays physical.
You touched on this a little bit after the game, but with Ty Washington, I'm just curious, like what did he? Because it looked like he's probably about 4th on depth chart. before last game. What did he do to emerge to the front of the depth chart and then having so much success in the game?
Well, I think it took him a little bit of time to learn the offense, learn what to do, which obviously again makes you play a little slower and things of that nature. I just thought he came out when we said, "Hey, this is what it is." I think he saw opportunity. I think he believed us when we said, "Hey, whoever has the best week, that's what we're going to do." And man, he just had a great week of practice. He just did, and like I say, I think it was after Tuesday's practice. I told Morgan, I said, "Okay, we're going to do what we say we're going to do. That's the guy." And no matter where he was on the depth chart, and then to see him have that success, I'm just really happy for him. That had to be a great feeling for him, but that's what happened. I think he just got more comfortable learning the offense.
Was that the plan to target him 5 times on the opening drive, or did it just work out that way?
No, it was not. It just worked out that way, and man, he made some nice plays. I mean, obviously the touchdown was planned, or hoping that it went that way. But the rest of them, just kind of happened.
This is obviously Alabama hadn't lost to a team with a losing record since '07 under Saban. Nobody's going to give you guys a chance to win this game. Probably 3-touchdown underdog.
Yeah.
What do you say? What's the message to the team about going in after the stretch you guys have had to go in and do what would basically be a shock the world type of win?
Well, I think it's just no different than a little bit. We've got to get better. We have 6 games left. We played half our season, and we can't win 2 games and go to a bowl game. So we've got to continue to get better. I think it would be the first one. Let it all hang out. I mean, you can't beat them if you don't. And so let's go over there and let's have some fun. Let's put a great game plan together and keep fighting. And we've got in order for us to win, whether it be Saturday or forward, we got to concentrate on what we can do better. We've got to run the ball better. We've got to cut down on the pre-snap penalty. It's not post-snap. It's pre-snap penalties. You're going to get 3 or 4. Ole Miss had 5. But that was real penalties. The ones that up to the officials. But if we do that, I think we can play with anybody. But we haven't done it consistently yet. But our message would be, let's go out there and let it fly. Last time we went down there, it was a 7-point game, and I don't know if you'd asked me before that game, would we score, I don't know what we scored, 34 or something like that. Would we score 34 points? Probably, I'd say probably not, So 11 o'clock game, hopefully we'll get up ready to roll, and got to take the logo off their helmet at some point and just know they put their pants on just like we do. Let's go try to play a physical, smart game, see what happens.
35, I believe. 42-35.
Was that what it was? Yeah.
Nico had an explosive TFL, and he blew Bentley up on another play. I'm wondering, is he earning more playing time? And are there young guys like him and Ty that are giving you hope that we got a young crew coming
Yes. Yeah, I mean, Nico had his best game and had his most production and was flying all over the field. And, yes, he played more Saturday than what he had and certainly has earned that right to continue doing that.
And are there other younger guys like him and Ty that
Ian Griffard hasn't played a whole lot. He plays a little bit each game, but he's a guy that I think is going to do something special. Obviously, Spence is playing some. Metcalf is playing some. Obviously, Braxton's starting for us. Those guys off the top of my head that I think Whiteout's really not right now. Running back. Yeah, those would be the guys right now. And to be honest with you, I think Alex Sanford's going to be a really good player for us. I know he's playing special teams, but I think he's going to be a really good player for us.
The year you went to Tuscaloosa and won with Northern Illinois is the last year Arkansas went to Tuscaloosa and won. What are the kind of things that has to happen to go into that kind of venue and win a game? What do you have to do?
You don't have to play perfect, but you have to play really good. And you have to get off the bus believing you're going to win. Like those are, I've said it for years, and now it's Georgia, but you got Georgia, Alabama, and it's both of them. There's some teams you walk off the bus and half your team's going, who are we playing next week, you know? And I don't think we have that team. I think our team believes we can go and win. But I think that's the biggest battle is the thing on the helmet. And so you have to do that. You have to play. You got to keep hold of the ball. You know, you can't throw picks. You can't lay it on the ground. And you got to have some help. They have to help you. You got to get turnovers, some things of that nature, and to beat them at home like that. We'd have to play an extremely big time game for us, but we're capable of it, and it's about time we do.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, guys.